everyone, I'm Dr. Zhang from Shantou University Medical College. Nice to meet you again. This week, we talk about the physiological functions of the kidney. Here are the learning objectives of this chapter. After we go through renal physiology, you will be able to describe the process of urine formation, explain the underlying mechanisms, and compare factors influencing glomerular filtration rate. Describe regulation of urine concentration and volume, and summarize renal functions in maintaining homeostasis. Do you remember the concept of homeostasis? The internal environment, that is the extracellular fluid of the body, must be maintained at a steady state. We all know that kidneys produce urine. Besides forming urine, kidneys play a major role in maintaining homeostasis. Kidneys help to maintain fluids, electrolyte, and acid-base balance, regulate blood pressure, produce erythropoietin, renin, and many other hormones. Kidneys function like a water purifier. About 25% of current output goes to the kidneys. Every minute, kidneys filter 1,200 milliliters of fluid from the blood. Toxins, metabolic wastes, foreign substances such as drugs, and excess fluid and ions are eliminated from the body in the urine. The formation of urine involves three processes: glomerular filtration, tubular reabsorption, and tubular secretion. This time, we'll discuss the first step, glomerular filtration. Here are the learning objectives. After this session, you should be able to describe the features of renal blood supply and its regulation, explain the process of glomerular filtration, compare the factors influencing glomerular filtration rate. Now, let's look at a case. Mr. Lin, a 62-year-old man, complains of lethargy, swollen face, and both legs. He has a history of focal segmental glomerular sclerosis for more than 10 years. Clinical findings include hypertension, generalized edema, hypoalbuminemia, and heavy proteinuria. He is diagnosed with nephrotic syndrome. What are the underlying mechanisms of these findings? Kidneys consist of an outer cortex and inner medulla. The structural and functional units of the kidney are nephrons. Each kidney contains over 1 million of nephrons. Urine is formed here. Each nephron consists of a glomerulus and a renal tubule. The glomerulus is a capillary network arising from a nephrin arteriole. It is surrounded by Bowman's capsule. The glomerulus is specialized for filtration. Blood is filtered across the glomerular capillaries into Bowman's space. The resulting filtrate then passes through different segments of renal tubules: the proximal convoluted tubule, the loop of Handler, the distal convoluted tubule, and the collecting ducts, and eventually forms urine collected in the bladder. The blood supply to the kidney is provided via the renal artery. The glomerular capillaries are supplied through a nephrin arteriole but drain through an afferent arteriole rather than a venule. The kidney has two discrete capillary networks for filtration and reabsorption. The afferent arterioles deliver blood to the first capillary network, the glomerular capillaries, and the afferent arterioles supply blood to the second, the peritubular capillaries. Blood from the peritubular capillaries flows into small veins and eventually drains into the renal vein. Blood flow to the kidneys is tightly autoregulated so that the renal blood flow remains constant despite dramatic changes in mean arterial blood pressure between 60 mm mercuries and 180 mm mercuries. As mentioned in the first chapter of this course, autoregulation is the intrinsic ability of an organ to regulate its own blood flow. It is highly significant and more efficient in kidneys, primarily through changing the resistance of the afferent arterioles. Autoregulation is independent of sympathetic innervation, and it is retained even when the kidney is denervated. For example, in a transplanted kidney, whenever the blood flow to the kidneys increases, it stretches the electric wall of the afferent arteriole, causing constriction of afferent arterioles. So, the blood flow is decreased. This is the myogenic response of kidneys. Another tubular glomerular balance involves macular denser cells in the distal tubule. We'll discuss it later. The kidneys receive about 25% of cardiac output, which is among the highest of all the organ systems. Therefore, in a person with cardiac output 5 liters per minute, renal blood flow, the RBF, is 1.25 liters per minute, or 1,800 liters per day. Now let's see how the kidneys handle such a huge amount of blood. When blood flows into the glomerular capillaries, the plasma is filtered into the Bowman's space. This process is called glomerular filtration. It is the first step of urine formation. All the substances of plasma are filtered except the proteins. The filtered fluid is called glomerular filtrate, like interstitial fluid containing normally all the substances in the plasma except proteins. In glomerular filtration, plasma is filtered across the filtration membrane, the wall of glomerular capillaries. Filtration membrane is composed of 3 layers: glomerular capillary membrane, basement membrane, and visual layer of Bowman's capsule. The filtration membrane is porous. It allows free passage of water and small solids like ions, glucose, amino acids, and metabolic waste. Normally, albumin and other plasma proteins cannot go through this membrane. However, in certain glomerular diseases, like glomerular nephritis, the filtration membrane may be damaged. Plasma proteins and blood cells can then get out and appear in the urine, producing proteinuria and hematuria. Next time, we'll talk about glomerular filtration rate. Thank you. This is the end of part 1.